Hello people of the internet, my name is CJ, and on December 31st, 2021, I posted a video talking about the different pieces of my impression of a soldier of His Majesty's 10th Regiment of Foot in 1775. It's now been 3 years since that video, and we are fast approaching the 250th anniversaries of the battles of Lexington and Concord. So I thought it might be fun to make that video again, talking about the current components of my impression of a soldier in Edward Sanford's company of His Majesty's 10th Regiment of Foot on April 19th, 1775. Starting with the base layer of clothing, we have a linen shirt. This one in particular was made by Ian Graves this past summer, and features ruffles at the front slit, thread buttons on the collar, and separate brass buttons for the cuffs. There's then a pair of wool stockings, which are held up by leather garters with brass buckles. These breeches are a couple of years old, so they've had some adjustments done to them since they were originally made, and they're starting to show some wear. They're made of white wool, and feature regimental buttons at the fall and at the knee, and also feature brass knee buckles. The waistcoat is also made out of white wool, though it's in much better condition than the breeches, as I started wearing it much more recently. The regimental coat is madder red with bright yellow facings and white lace with a blue stripe along the outer edge. It was cut out as a kit by my sergeant, who has a great video on his own YouTube channel explaining the details of these coats, which will be linked in the description. Here is a side-by-side comparison of my current coat next to the one I was issued when I first joined the 10th 3 years ago. The neck stock I have is made of leather with a piece of horsehair sewn on top of it, and has a brass clasp in the back. At most events, I wear modern dress shoes, which are hidden by these painted canvas gaiters, though for events where I can't easily conceal my footwear, I wear these leather shoes with brass buckles. These are the cold weather alternative to the short canvas gaiters. They're made of wool and reach up to the knee. Another essential piece of cold weather gear is mittens. Here we have the accoutrements, the belting that goes along with the musket. I unfortunately don't have a musket with me here today, as mine is currently disassembled. The belts are made of white leather, and the bayonet is worn around the waist. For most of the war, bayonet belts would have been slung across the shoulder, but as we portray the very beginning of the war with Lexington and Concord, we wear them around the waist. The cartridge pouch here contains a wooden block to hold the cartridges, the ammunition for the musket, and also a small compartment underneath that block to hold tools to work with the musket. It also has this brass ornament on it to identify the unit. We have the X, the Roman numeral 10 there, and we also have the 10 on the belt buckle. If we're going to be venturing outside of camp for an extended period of time, we're going to need to bring food and water with us. So here I have my canteen and my haversack. The canteen is actually made out of stainless steel, though it has been messed with to make it look a bit duller and a bit more like tin, as the actual historical canteens would have been made of tin, and has a hemp rope to sling it over my shoulder. And then here the haversack is made out of linen, and on the back it has the GR with the broad arrow to symbolize that this is property of King George. Here is the most distinctive piece of our uniform as a battalion company in the British Army. It is a cocked hat. So it is made of black wool felt and has white wool tape going around the edges, and also a couple of little tassels there on the right side. There's a horsehair cockade that is held in place by a little regimental button there, which is another further piece of unit identification. And if we're in camp, or we're in some sort of situation where we don't want our nice hats to get messed up, we have these forage caps. It is made out of the same materials as the coat, with a facing colored front. Here it is yellow because the 10th Regiment of Foot's facings are yellow, and the little 10 is once again a further way to identify that this is the 10th Regiment of Foot. The front part here can also fold down as a visor if it's very sunny out, and this little knot can be undone to let these ear flaps down if it is very cold. So this has been a quick summary of the uniform elements of a private soldier in one of the 8 battalion companies in His Majesty's 10th Regiment of Foot, circa April 19th, 1775. I'm very proud of how far our group has come in the last couple of years in terms of improving the authenticity of our impressions, and our sergeant, Jonathan in particular, has put an unbelievable amount of effort into making sure we all have the best uniforms and the best drill that we can possibly have going into the 250th. And my favorite part of all of that improvement of authenticity in drill and uniforms for the Colonel's Company of His Majesty's 10th Regiment of Foot is that the battalion companies of the 10th Regiment of Foot were not present for the fighting on April 19th, 1775.